Okay, guys, this is not what I want to show us. I want to make a little demo on Edulastic and some things that might come up on our quiz, more like notation and just using Edulastic. So I created a mini little practice assignment on here that you can try along with me or watch and then try. So I'm going to start this on Edulastic. And I think it'd be helpful to have like a little scratch pad nearby to try it out, but I've already done that. So hopefully we're all set, just putting our answers in here. So this one, it says use the graph, make sure I use the specified notation. So for number one, in interval notation, we want the domain. So in here, we'll see I gave us a little keyboard, and you can move this around. If it's in your way or you just want to move it, you can move it there. But I don't really need it much because I'm going to use my regular keyboard for mostly interval notation. So it looks like on my graph I was going from -7 at an open circle at -5, and I'm going to just not put any spaces. For union, I'm going to do a capital U, and then I pick up again at -5 to -1. I had a break there, and I went from -1 to, now I'll use the keyboard for infinity. I missed my comma, and we're set. All right, so that's the domain and interval notation. Our range, I think, is -6. So I'm going to, again, use my keyboard, -6 to infinity. Use my parenthesis, and see if you delete one, it'll make a nice interval for us and go through. Okay, f of 3 on my graph. Going up to the graph, and at 3, it looks like I've got 0, so I'm going to type that in. 0. Okay, so here's where, now that we've done limits, Edulastic does have limits on the keyboard. So we want the right side end behavior for this function. So the end behavior is on the end of the graph, and the right side is as x goes to infinity. So it looks like this graph's going up forever. So I'm going to click on this, and I gave us a full keyboard now. So over here we have our limit. So I'm going to say limit, and I'm going to move my keyboard so we can see what I'm typing. And now on here, I've opened up a little, I don't know, limit, right? So to type something next to the X, actually just click right next to the arrow. And I want to say the limit as we're going to infinity. So you can find that a couple places. On the first tab, it's on the bottom, or it's on the third tab with infinity in there too. All right, now I'm going to click regular. So the limit of the function, so f of x equals, and I said it looked like it was going up forever, so to infinity. And that looks good for me for limit notation. So that's our first one. A couple other things on the screen, right? If you want a little calculator, it's up here for you. You can move that around, right? You can, right now for practice, check your answers. Let's see if I typed them. So it says this one I didn't type exactly like I did in my answer, but it's a practice. I didn't put that many answers in, and I would check any wrong answers. So as long as it looks good to you, then don't worry. But the other guys, it's liking, so that's good. All right, and then next, I'm gonna go to the next question. So down here. Okay, so the relation has the following symmetry or symmetries. Choose all that apply. So I'm gonna pick whichever ones I think it is. I think it has origin symmetry. And down here it says prove that the relation has the symmetry that I chose above. So I chose origin, and I told us tips here, turn the scratch pad on. So up here we've got a little scratch pad, and I can actually type and draw anything in here. So my scratch pad tools come at the top of the problem. So I've got to scroll up. I'm going to use the pen tool, red 3, that's fine. And I'm going to start drawing. So it was xy minus 5x squared equals 4. Xy minus 5x squared equals 4. Doesn't have to be beautiful, but take your time and try your best. Maybe some of you guys have a touch screen. And to prove algebraically, since I chose origin symmetry, I'm going to put in a negative x and a negative y. I need my negative there. And go through. So this, once I simplify, I'm going to say x, y minus 5x squared equals 4. So that's plenty to prove it. I could say the same, whatever you want to do, but going through. So that's my scratch pad. But let's say I didn't choose this first. If I go back and try to choose this, right, it's not going to work. So a couple things. To delete things, I could do undo, or if you hit delete and then you click, it'll actually delete things. To move things, I can use the selector and move anything I wrote. And then all the other tools are up here. And you could even just use this if you want to write notes on the screen during a quiz. So if I need to change my answer, I have to turn the scratch pad off, right, and go through it. It's going to look like my work's gone, but on the answer key, I can still see all of your work. So don't worry, it's still there. And if I turn it back on, there we go. All right, so I think I'm done. I'm going to submit. And it says, you've answered, please review. All the questions look good. I'm going to submit. And there we go. All right, so I set it so we would get graded right away. So let's see what didn't agree about this. -5, -5, -1. It looks like just I had a space in there or something, right, that didn't match up. But the question, my answer looks good. So like after I graded that, I would have gone back and gotten full credit. So that looks fine. Those all matched up. The second page, let's see, I could change it to question 2. Looks good. This I would have to grade manually. And we could see that I didn't grade it yet. So that's that for Edulastic. You guys could do a little practice with this assignment and see you for our quiz.